What is anti-Semitism? If you listen to the Labour politicians at odds over definitions, you'd think it's an unanswerable question. Listen to Evie, a school kid from Manchester, and the answer's simple.
I've had people tell me that they're going to gas me, that they say some horrible things like, do you smell gas? And it's not just to me, it's like to other people who are Jewish. People use the word Jew as an insult, and they say things like, oh, you stupid fat Jew.
Evie is 13 and kids are cruel. In reality, it's impossible to know whether the abuse she's been getting is a ripple effect of what's been going on in the Labour Party. But that's how it feels to her.
I was very open about my religion. Like, people will ask me, like, oh, what does this word say? And I wasn't very good at reading Hebrew, but they would be really open and ask me all these questions, and that's what happened in Year 7 as well. But now people are starting to say some very horrible stuff, and I do believe it's because of the things Jeremy Corbyn has been saying about Jewish people.
Whether she's right or wrong, the Labour leadership would do well to listen, because it's how many are feeling at the moment.
More worried than anything else what's going to happen if he became leader. I think a lot of people have got that way in mind, that this won't be a very safe place for Jewish people.
And now this. 3 newspapers, 1 headline, 1 front page story. It's unprecedented, and the language is incendiary. It says the Labour leader poses an existential threat to Jewish life in the UK. Jeremy Corbyn's face has been on the front page of the Jewish Telegraph a lot lately. In the offices of the newspaper, its editor insists a line has been crossed with the refusal by Labour's ruling body to fully accept an internationally agreed definition of anti-Semitism.
This is a unique situation now. This newspaper is in its 68th year of publication, and it's only in the last 2 years or so that we've actually felt constrained to take sides politically. We've always been apolitical, but while Corbyn is leading the party, I don't think any self-respecting Jew can vote for Labour.
He's been facing the same questions for a while now.
What's your message to Jewish Labour MPs, not to Corbyn?
Not helped by Ken Livingstone or by a mural. First, Jeremy Corbyn said it shouldn't be removed. Then he said he looked closer and regretted that.
Enough is enough!
There have been protests, an investigation, and now a row about a definition. The party says it's listening and still looking at the concerns.
The fight is happening. What I say.
Richard Gold runs training sessions for local Labour groups about anti-Semitism. He's no boat rocker and is careful with his language.
I've been giving Jeremy Corbyn the benefit of the doubt, saying that Jeremy's come on a journey. I'm not sure how long I can keep giving that benefit of the doubt.
Labour says it's tackling anti-Semitism and totally condemns it. But for some people, in some places, that's not how it feels. And it'll take more than words and promises to change that. Claire Fallon, Channel 4 News, Prestwich.
Well, I'm joined now by Justin Cohen, who's the news editor of Jewish News, which is one of the 3 Jewish newspapers who published that identical front page today, and John Lansman, who's a Labour Party activist, part of the NEC, who are responsible for all of this, and a founder of Momentum. Justin Cohen, whatever you think of Jeremy Corbyn, I beg your pardon, to accuse him of being an existential threat to Jewish life in the United Kingdom is surely the worst possible accusation you can level at any respectable politician. How can you justify that?
That wasn't a word that was used lightly, I have to say. But if we look at facts on the ground at the moment, there are large numbers of Jewish people that I speak to on a weekly basis that are looking at the possibility of a Jeremy Corbyn government and thinking, will we still have a place in this country if Jeremy Corbyn is Prime Minister? And then we look at the reasons we've reached this stage. 3 years of stories, week after week after week, that have really chipped away, even at those that are lifelong supporters of the Labour Party. And last week, we had the situation where we had the chief rabbi, we had 68 other rabbis, we had the leadership bodies of the Jewish community, all making absolutely clear where they stood on this issue, on anti-Semitism, not on faith schools, an issue where there could be different positions across different faiths, but on anti-Semitism, and their views were ignored.
Existential threat. Well, are you saying Jews would leave Britain or something worse?
No, I'm not suggesting anything worse. I'm suggesting that they would feel compelled in large numbers to at least consider moving, if not moving. We are speaking to people on a regular basis who are saying this to us. Of course, making that move itself would be more difficult than talking about it. But if we are in a situation where we've got a chief rabbi whose views on anti-Semitism are going to be ignored, you can understand why there is this strength of feeling.
John Landsman, this must be the most horrific accusation to face. Do you feel ashamed by it?
Well, it is a very, I can't imagine a more serious accusation, but I don't believe it to be true in any way. Obviously, I acknowledge perceptions and have to take them seriously. But I think a Corbyn government, any Labour government, poses no threat to Jews. The Labour Party is committed to multiculturalism in a way that no other party in Britain actually is. We want Jews to be able to live as Jews, to worship in the way they choose, to eat kosher food, to live the way they want to live, as we believe that all communities in Britain
But
should.
when so many Jewish people clearly have lost faith in the Labour Party, is that not a matter of shame?
It is a matter of shame. It's a matter of great concern, and that's why we take very seriously what we have to do about it. Now, I know that we acted too quickly and too indecisively at first. I think the problem has been much bigger than we at first thought, and so we didn't engage sufficiently until quite late in the day. But
now you've made a mess of it again with this definition, haven't you? Totally avoidable controversy.
I think that what we have done in the last 3 months is we have made a really serious effort, and I think a successful effort, to change the way we deal with cases in order to speed them up, to plan a major campaign of education and training within the party, to progress those cases as quickly as possible, to change the way we do it. We've done all of those things. Now, that necessitated us producing a code of conduct that would give clear guidance to all of the staff and other people who are adjudicating on those cases in how to treat them. We have a unique problem in the Labour Party. It's not a problem I'm proud of. It's a problem I deeply regret. But we have to handle far more cases of anti-Semitism than anybody else who's adopted the IHRA definition, which we have.
Yes. What does that tell you about the Labour Party?
Well, it tells me that we have a significant problem that came to light because of the focus of it. By the way, it's not the only place that there's anti-Semitism in Britain, but it's the place that we're responsible for, and that's why we're addressing it.
Let's get to the anti-Semitism definition. What is your real problem with it?
Well, for a start, this was an issue on which the Jewish community was barely consulted at all. The only example of consultation that I'm aware of was a meeting that took place at which the JLM, the Jewish Labour Movement, were invited to. They weren't told that it was part of a consultation process, and they were suddenly expected to give evidence. There was no other consultation with any of the leadership bodies on this issue.
But do you have a problem with the actual substance, or is it just the way it's been arrived at and who's doing it?
No, absolutely. There's major problems with the actual content. We have a definition here that's accepted by governments around the world, by local authorities around this country, by the CPS. And only the Labour Party feel a need to tear it apart. Not in total, it has to be said. They have kept the first words which kind of sum up what Jew hate is. And they've retained some of the examples that accompany that definition of contemporary anti-Semitism. But they've also taken apart 4 examples. They've taken them out of a category which which are considered to be potential examples of contemporary anti-Semitism and downgraded them. Such as the idea that it's possible for a comparison of Israeli policy to Nazi policy being potentially not anti-Semitic, but only wrong, or you have to show intent.
John Landsman, why?
First of all, the Code of Conduct does make clear that it is not acceptable to make Nazi comparisons, as did the Chakrabarti report. The point here is that the Code of Conduct that we've produced is a different kind of document from a definition. We have adopted the definition of the IHRA together with the examples, albeit with some reservations similar to the ones expressed by the Home Affairs Select Committee of the House of Commons. But the Code of Conduct is a different sort of document. The IHRA definition, right, is quite short. It gives short examples. It makes clear that you have to be very careful about the context and therefore in which things are said or done, and therefore a great deal of judgment needs to be exercised, which is not explained in that guide. What we've done is produced a Code of Conduct which takes it beyond that.
So it's better
to something which is clear and precise. That's what we have have done, and I think have succeeded in doing. Though we've also decided at the last executive unanimously that we will be open to further discussion on the content, because we want to take on board the criticisms of the Jewish community.
The party has made this claim in the last month or so that it somehow improves on IHRA. Well, the fact is that this definition is accepted by all those authorities. Why is it that only the Labour Party feel that there needs to be an improvement to these definitions? And why, if the central concern is making sure that that people who want to do so can criticise Israeli policy and are free to do so, why is it that there's some kind of need to use Nazi comparisons or to compare, or to suggest that Jews have dual loyalty?
It is not an improvement on a definition. It's not a definition. It's a different kind of document. We accept the IHRA definition.
You called it the gold standard.
We accept the IHRA definition, but we've produced a detailed Code of Conduct which is designed to be a gold standard in how you actually deal with large numbers of cases of anti-Semitism. There are large numbers of cases of anti-Semitism in society, in other parties, elsewhere, in other countries. This is a gold standard showing how to deal with.
Do you really think the Labour Party is the organisation
more seriously than any other large organisation in the world?
But do you really think that the Labour Party is the organisation to try and set the standard, the gold standard for the world on anti-Semitism? Well, when you've admitted yourself you've got more problems of anti-Semitism in your party than any other mainstream party in Britain.
I have not said that. I haven't said we've got more problems, no.
Well, you said you were unique because you've got so many.
We have taken seriously the identification, and the investigation of cases of anti-Semitism. There's anti-Semitism in society. There's anti-Semitism in other parties. The evidence actually shows that members and supporters of other parties, there are actually proportionately greater. There are more instances of anti-Semitism. So, it's not that, we are taking seriously the job of identifying and investigating and adjudicating.
John Lansman.
That's why we got.
John Lansman and Justin Cohen, thank you both very much.